righty, everybody. I am so excited to have Dr. Enrique Cruz here on my podcast today. And I just want to start off, Dr. Cruz, by telling us a little bit. I know I just did this great introduction for you, but I want you to tell us in your own words a little bit about you, about your practice, and how the vision came to fruition, because you didn't just go to school and become a dentist, but now you came to the States and then did dual specialty and then started a multi-specialty practice. And on top of it all, it's a bilingual practice. So just kind of give us a little of the history before we jump into all of the questions that I have for you.
I'm so excited to be here today with you. And of course, so originally from Mexico, and I went to dental school in Mexico. Then I follow surgery training there, and then I moved to the States. And when I moved to the States, some of my options were either periodontics or orthodontics. And to tell you the truth, orthodontics was always there, right?
Yeah.
Something that it got me really interested, but I was more into the surgical side of dentistry. So in Indiana University, there was the option to do peri-ortho, and I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to do this combination, and things started from there. So I did a 6-year program, and after that, my options of either staying in Indiana or finding different states to practice. So actually, Indiana was not an option because at the time there was no an option to be foreign trained dentist and practice in Indiana. Later on, it was available.
Interesting.
I know, and this came out as a lot of the graduates from Indiana say were foreign training dentists, and they said we're studying in Indiana, and now we cannot practice in Indiana. So later on, there was some legal issues where students kind of like went to the board and tried to pass this option. So anyway, but at the time, my only option was Texas, California, Washington State. So few options, and my wife and I, we decided to come to Texas, and since then, that's how everything started.
I love it, and probably never looked back. It was the best decision you probably could have made.
Within a few months of being in Austin, Texas, it felt like home. It felt like home, and we were in the process to open our own practice, and of course, we started working in DSO at the beginning. Later on, we had the opportunity to open our practice, and the rest is history. We have been here for 10 years, and It's been amazing.
Yeah. So I want to kind of unpack this a little bit, because not only did you start out by having to move to another state. And I would say with a lot of my startup docs, that is what happens, right? We graduate from one school, and for whatever reason, family, just opportunity, whatnot, takes us to another state. So you're opening up a practice in an area that you're not familiar with, which is a challenge in and of itself. But then, to say, well, not only, and I just love your story, because not only am I going to, of course, get your feet wet, working in a DSO and whatnot, but not only when we decide to open up a practice, are we going to do a single practice, but we've got a multi-specialty, and you're working with your spouse. And I just think like that is so cool and so hard, I'm sure, at different points. So can you just kind of tell me about what was your decision? I mean, obviously you guys are, you're dual trained. She has her own specialty as well, but how did you guys kind of make that move to, not only are we just going to open up a practice, and I shouldn't say just, because opening up a practice is hard. I've been doing this for a long time now with doctors, but can you talk to me a little bit about the multi-specialty journey, but then also working with your spouse?
Now that you mention all those things, it gives me the chills. Because it sounds like, oh yeah, you're working with your wife, you open practices, blah, blah, and you move to another state. At the time, so I'm gonna go back long time ago.
Please do.
When I was probably 8 years old, and I'll tell you why.
I love it.
So when I was 8 years old, I'm coming from a dental family. We're 27 dentists in the family.
Oh my gosh.
So we have ortho, endo, surgery, pediatrics, you name it. We're 27 members in my family. But I'll tell you how this started. So when I was 8, 9 years old, I used to live in Mexico City, and my family is from Oaxaca. So Oaxaca is a small town, beautiful, beautiful town, and I would go there all the summers. And my uncle, he was the first dentist in the family, and all I remember was, and at that time I was an assistant, 8 years old. So I used to.
You can have 8-year-old assistants in Oaxaca.
In Oaxaca, exactly. Here, it wouldn't be able, but in Oaxaca, I would pass the patient. I will tell them, okay, sit down here. The doctor's coming in a minute. Can I get some water? So that was my assistant, right?
Yes.
And when the patient was done, I would clean the chair. And it was a way for me to just do something with my uncle. I mean, he has been a great influence, and that's how everything started. The thing that I liked the most about him at the time, or I would say his style of life, was that he will, go to his office. He will open around 9, 10. He will close around 4.
Good schedule.
People, he will dress nice. He will have perfume. These little things that as a little kid, you might not imagine that it will make an impact in your life. So long story short, every summer for probably 5, 6 years, I was doing the same thing every year. So technically, I've been in dentistry since I was 8. All right. So when it was time for me to decide what I wanted to be, it was like, of course, I was between being a pianist or a dentist.
A pianist? Is that what you said?
Yeah, my dad was a musician, an architect, but he decided to do music. So that's why I was between music or dentistry. And what I really like about my uncle's style of life, or a dental style of life, was that you can be your own boss. Mm-hmm. So I grew up with that mentality. Okay, that was so. I'm going into dentistry to open my own practice. Okay, first thing, right? Yep. Later on, I moved to the States. I do dentistry. Moved to the States. I finished and I had the opportunity to meet my wife we were co-residents in Indiana. Wow. So we did the ortho program together, and of course, going to an orthodontic residency in the States and any part of the world is very hard. And she was my classmate, and we were dealing with each other and patients, and what entails to be kind of almost running a practice within the school, right?
Yes.
So we became really good friends. Then, the rest is history. But we went through school together. We went through residency together. I think we have a chance to, practice together, right? So I want to be my own boss. I want to, of course, practice with my wife. We decided Austin, Texas, just because we knew. I mean, I know there are a lot of practitioners and a lot of residents that want to open a practice. They do a study of the area. Yep. How many orthodontists? How many of these?
Yep. The demographic report. Yep.
Nothing. I went blind. Okay. I didn't recommend to do that, but at the same time, I just was okay. That's my option to go to Texas. We go to Texas. Nice town. It's growing. So that's how we picked Austin, right? So I want to open my own practice. I want to practice with my wife. Austin, Texas, right? So for the beginning, we moved to Austin and we started working in a DSO. Why? Because you have to, generate income, right?
Absolutely. Startups, you can't live on startups in the beginning.
You have student loans, you have car payment, the apartment payment. At the time we were saving for the wedding. So two different things. And a lot of you guys, you guys will identify with this process, because I think that's how it happens. The majority of my friends, they graduate, then getting things together for the wedding, getting things together. So it is very, you guys can relate about what I'm going through right now at this point, right? So we started the DSO, and when I to the process, I said, okay, I want to work here for a year, maybe 2 years. And that was so important to let them know, right? Because I want to be here, but this is not a long-term situation because I wanted to prep them to let them know that I will be moving out of that, right? So throughout that time, we were living in downtown Austin, and there was so many orthodontists in downtown Austin. There was so many orthodontists in the north, so many orthodontists in the south.
Oh, it's so hard.
So my heart started like, okay, so where should we open, right? Where should we open? And, we sat down, we went for dinner with my wife, and we said, you know what, let's just open where we wanted to live, right?
Yep.
Let's just go with that. No matter what the demographics say, I started looking at numbers and said, you know what, let's just open where we wanted to live.
Yep. Going eyes wide open. I love it.
Just let's go with it. We'll do our best. Worst could happen. We go back to an idea. So, right?
Yeah.
It sounds simple, but it creates a lot of anxiety. It creates a lot of second thoughts.
For sure.
Loans is just unbearable sometimes, to overwhelming, right?
Yes.
But that's how I wanted to, right?
Yep.
So we pick a place in Cedar Park, which is around 18 miles from downtown Austin.
Mm-hmm.
At the time we were living in downtown Austin, and we opened we built one from scratch. Getting the loans was very hard because, having an orthodontist and a periodontist, orthodontist loans, student loans, and try to get a loan for the practice.
Oh, yes.
So very, very interesting. A lot of banks go to the residencies and they go, hey, we can give you loan money when you open your practice. You guys have blah, blah, blah. And that's not true. That's really not true, because they look at what you owe, your assets, your income, what you're making, blah, blah. So I got to the point that I said, hey, you guys came to my university and you guys almost promised me that you guys are going to give me a loan. And it's not happening.
And I need it. I'm at the point where I need it.
You have two recent graduates that have a lot of income potential or income generating, right? And we're going to be generating jobs. And you guys came and so what? So long story short, we got the loan, right?
I love it.
We got the loan, and that's how things kind of started. So I think that was part one. So that was the first part when we opened our practice.
Yeah. Well, that's great. And I love to kind of hear that you, even from when you were a little kid, you knew that this was probably going to be your trajectory. And, I can relate to that, because as a little girl, I always knew I was going to do entrepreneur. There was going to be something where I was going to own my own business too. And I just feel like some of us just have it. It's just there on the inside. And we know that. It's funny that you said, what's the worst that's going to happen? I'll go back to doing a DSO. I know when I started my consulting business, I said, what's the worst that's going to happen? I don't do well. And I go back to working in an office. I mean, that's not horrible. It's okay. But I think when you have that grit to just say, I'm going to figure it out, that's my motto in life. I'm going to figure it out and we're going to push forward. And so as you guys made the decision, you opened up. Tell me a little bit about, as you kind of brought in that multi-specialty, because it's hard to do just one. How did that kind of work as you guys started your brand? And, kind of, because that's the one thing that anybody who knows you knows your brand. They know it by the red. They know it by what you do and, kind of all of that. So can you talk a little bit about how your brand came about? And then from there, how did that roll into social and, all of the other things? Let's talk a little bit about that.
You keep asking me this and it just bring me great memories and the chills and all the stuff that has been happening in the past 10 years. So long, when we were in residency, I think 3M was putting, I don't remember the name of the conference, but it was for residents. I had to do something wire. I don't remember, but we went to this conference and, as we, my wife and I, we said, okay, I don't want to be Cruz orthodontics, right? And what I told her is you're not Dr. Cruz. I am Dr. Cruz.
Yep. Yeah. Yes.
And I said, I don't want you to change your name just because you are going to get married to me, So
Yeah.
it's not going to be Dr. Pania, Dr. Cruz orthodontics. So we said, let's find something that it just identify some of our backgrounds, some of our characteristics, so something
Yes.
different. So sonrisas is smiles, right? Sonrisas is smiles, and you guys know me. I love smiling. I love laughing. I love.
Yes.
It
Yes.
really. I just wanted to smiles, right? Sonrisas. Sonrisas. Why? Because I think it has a really nice tone in English and Spanish, something different, but at the same time identifies with my community, right?
Yes.
And so we were in Miami at the time. I think it was a little biased because if we did this questionnaire and somewhere else, the name would come out different, right? So we were just having dinner, and whoever was passing by, like, we will ask them, what do you think about this name, and this name? We're dentists, what do you think? So everybody voted for some reasons. So we got it as a fun thing, right?
Yes.
But we were asking people, random people, just random, like, what do you think about this name?
Yep.
What do you think about this name? What do you think about this? I don't remember the other names, but everybody came up to say, no, we like sonrisas. How would you say, first we'll say, how will you write this? How will you read this? Read this and sound good. And so that's how sonrisas came, long before we opened it. So we had in mind what we wanted to call it. And once we opened it, of course, the process of getting the branding, and branding has been an amazing thing for us, a long journey, but at the same time has taught us about branding, right? Because there's a moment that you have your brand and you protect it and you love it and you own it and it's your baby, right? So everything started with sonrisas, later on the colors, right? We wanted red. And now a lot of people identify us with the red. And sorry, I'm not wearing red today because it's my surgical day. But so that's how things are starting to. We have the brand name, we're ready to open the practice. We open the practice, and what do you do as an orthodontist? Start meeting with dentists, right? Want referrals. So I started meeting with referrals and possible referrals. And, I have shared this story several times. The experience was not great. And
it's hard. It's so hard.
I don't consider myself, I don't know. I can have a conversation with anybody, right? Let's talk about, dentistry. Let's talk about cars. Let's talk about traveling. Anything. We can talk about it. But this type of conversations with dentists, they were very awkward. I don't know why. I was not trying to sell myself. I was just trying to, I'm just opening my business, and I would love for you to send me some patients, but I was just trying to meet people. That was my goal.
Yep.
I think being the new orthodontist in town, and of course I was sharing that I was also a periodontist, I was not getting a good vibe from the meetings. So I came back to my house and I was very disappointed. I was like, you know what? And then you have your loan, and then you have your new beautiful practice. You don't know how things are going to go. And she said, I told her, you know what? There should be another way to find patients. And a few weeks before, she was saying, you know what? We should get on Facebook. We should post. We should start posting.
Go direct to the patient.
Direct. And nobody will believe me this, but I used to not like social media.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of docs out there that start off that way.
Exactly. And I was like, no, I'm not going to post on social media. I'm a doctor, and, all seriousness. And no, and let me tell you what I'm going through this process, right? Mentally, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do social media. They need to know me. I went to school so many years to know me about my clinical skills, and and I'm just being. That was my field.
I believe it. I believe it. Yes.
And after having this experience meeting dentists and going through this mind game, what should I do? I need to feed my office, right? The patients. I need to be known. I need to generate income for me, the office. And how can I do that? And I said, I'm not going to meet dentists anymore. But I remember my wife posted a couple of pictures, and they were like a model with an apple and have the best smile of the day. And all of a sudden, this model was in 20 other pages. And I was like, you know what? We need to do our own thing. Long story short, I start posting, I start sharing everyday activities in front of new brackets put on, yes. Braces taking off, yes. Birthdays. Somebody comes with a nice gift. Somebody comes sharing a great story, a great motivational story. Little things that were happening in the practice. I was not trying to do any more than just sharing what we do in the office.
Yep.
So then we have 100 followers, 200 followers, 5,000 followers, 10,000 followers, 14,000. So it's escalated to the point that we were getting between 60 to 100 patients a month from Facebook.
Wow. Wow. And I just want anybody who's in the audience to hear this. It didn't happen overnight, but it took consistency, and it took stepping out of maybe your comfort zone, right? In doing this and just saying, I'm going to commit to getting in front of patients. And I 100% believe, and I tell this to all my startups and doctors that I work with, that we have to have multiple ways to get in front of patients. And sometimes, taking off that, just being real, like you said, posting, fun things, posting things where I believe that your patients seeing you as a real person, not in, these real posed professional settings all of the time, is so endearing to them that's why they want to come in, because they want to meet this person that seems like somebody you want to be a friend with, right?
Exactly. Of course, there's a pre-pandemic, post-pandemic vibe.
Sure.
Before, on March 2020, it was there, but I think that now has potentialized the reach of social media. So I'm gonna keep going with our journey, okay? Okay. So we start getting a lot of referrals. Continue with our social media. I was posting every single day. It became a second job to me. My wife and I will say, okay, now we're going to have a contest. Now we're going to have this. Now we're going to have that. Now we're going to do a reveal. Like every day we continue doing something. To tell you the truth, social media for me has been not necessarily a way to reach to so many people that has become our patients, but also to reach people more than influencers that have collaborated with us, organizations that have reached out to us and say, hey, can you guys help us doing this? Can you guys help us doing that? And that's the really true meaning of social media, reaching more than your community only. But with the same story, later on, we have the opportunity. Of course, there was a point that we were, from nothing. Within the six months, we grew incredibly. There was a point that we were having 18 employees at the time.
Oh my gosh!
2,000 square office with 5 chairs.
Oh my goodness!
18 employees.
Talk about efficient. Trying to be as efficient as you possibly can.
And you wouldn't believe, we will have people waiting outside to be seen outside of the lobby. And at that time, we said, you know what, we need to open our second location. And that happened within 2 years. And a few years later, we opened, our third location. And right now we have more than 50 employees.
Wow.
And we, we continue growing. But that's not the point with this. Social media at this point created that closeness with our patients, with organizations, with our community. And later on, TikTok came in place.
Yes.
Open a different way to interact with patients.
And a different audience, right? Like this is the thing I'm trying to tell people, so many times is the different platforms have different followers, and you're going to have different messages or different things that you're doing. And I do want you to just kind of talk a little bit about TikTok, because it's very It's its own animal, for sure.
So I'm kind of breaking this into how it started,
Yep.
how it's Facebook. Now we're going to talk to TikTok, and then we're going to talk Instagram.
Okay. I love it. I love it. Take us on this journey.
All right. So very same thing. 2019, December 2019, my wife is, and I always kind of give her a hard time, but she's the reason why I've been doing this social media. She's the one who has been, telling me, hey, we should do this, we should do that. and she's the mind, the brains behind the scene.
Yeah. She's that director, huh?
She's the director, and she's telling me, you should do this. Like, okay, like a good husband.
I love it.
But our interaction is really good. So, like December 2019, she goes and like, you know what? We should start going on TikTok because it's coming in and it's new thing that the kids are looking at it. And what did I say? No, that's for kids. That's for kids. I'm not gonna be dancing. That's not for me. I have enough from Facebook. But Facebook at that time was going down.
Yes, it was. Yep.
The algorithms, the interactions, the way that Facebook was showing our audiences, it was starting to go down. So I said, you know what? Maybe she's right.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she's right. Shouldn't fight it. Just start going with it. And a few months later, the pandemic started. On March we have to close. And guess what I had to do? Something right at home. Start to figure it out.
Stay in front of your patients. Stay in front of them. Yep.
What I was doing, I was not doing teledentistry at the time. I was just talking to people on the camera, right?
Mm-hmm. I remember.
So I would call them, "You doing good? Please wear your elastics." And we went from seeing 120 patients a day to seeing maybe 60 to 80 video calls a day.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Doing everything virtually.
For those 6 weeks that we had to, I was on the computer all the time. And I said, you know what? Maybe I just start recording something that everybody can watch it. And I stopped doing this. So that's how the things came into play. I started doing what to do in a broken bracket. We cannot see you, blah, blah.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, I figure out how to use the app. And all of a sudden, I figure out how to use the music, how to edit, and all of a sudden, we started doing content. All of a sudden, we started doing content. So we started with 100 followers, 20 followers. Now we are almost from Sonrisas. We have almost 1 million followers.
I know, you're just right there. You're just right there.
Followers,
which is amazing in such a short period of time too.
It happened within less than a year.
Mm-hmm.
Less than a year. But more interestingly, I have 3 accounts now. Three TikTok accounts. I have our office, which is Sonrisas Orthodontics. I opened my own, which has more than 200,000 followers. It's Dr. Sonrisas. And I opened a third one, that same thing. I was like, you know what? Almost I don't have nothing to do. I'm going to start recording what I do to share with my students, to share with, some friends. Somebody asked me one day, hey, how do you do this? Like, oh, let me record it and let me put some music and I'll send it to you. And I opened
wonderful.
Orthotrix. Orthotrix has 1.2 million followers. 1.2 million followers. So all of a sudden, my day-to-day interactions with patients and with colleagues they talk about, oh, great dancer, oh, great trick, because what social media has become, daily interactions.
Wow, that's wonderful, and I did not realize you had the other 2 accounts. So, I mean, again, what a service, and I just want to say one more time, it's different channels of people that you're reaching, even though it's on the same platform.
Exactly.
Even.
So different channels, different audience, and different vibe. And where vibe is the thing now. Vibe is how's the vibe, right? So Sonrisas is more just trends, funny things, funny stuff that happens in the office with the staff, with the patients, and just the patients like it, our audience like it.
Yeah.
The other one is Dr. Sonrisas is more related to me. I have fun with my patients, and I like dancing. Of course, I like dancing. And even though I told my wife that I didn't want to dance, I love dancing. I love dancing.
You're the
Whatever it
best
takes.
dancing doctor out there.
I love dancing and laughing, sharing what we do every day. And the other one is the clinical one. You don't see me, all you see is procedures. And we
Yes.
have videos that have reached more than 60 million views.
Wow.
67 million views, 60 million views, 55 million views, 40 million views. Amazing reach that has brought a lot of not necessarily, of course, they have reached out to be patient with us, awareness of what we do with our hands as orthodontists.
Yes.
And that's my most favorite thing to share, because it's not only about me, it's about my profession.
Yeah, absolutely. And just the reach. And I think, and I just want you to say that again, it's about our profession, because if we can get more people, all of us out there, I mean, being able for them to see that it isn't a scary, hard thing to get into orthodontics or to get, into dentistry. And I think too, even for the younger generation to see that this is a fun industry and there's a career that you can get out of this. And, so if you just kind of catch somebody's interest and then they're like, like you as an 8-year-old, like, I like that. I see that. I think I could be a part of that. And that kind of leads me into my next question, because not only have you, done all of these practices and, grown and, really developed your brand and your social media presence, but I know, because I've been there, you also saw a need in our industry to help train up newbies. And I want you to talk about your training center, because I just have such, I know, but I have such a heart for this, because I feel like there is such a need, and there are people that truly want to learn and want to be a part of something. So I want you to take us on that little journey as we kind of finish up a little bit on how did this come to fruition, and how is that helping not only your practice, but you're influencing a ton of lives. Like I look at your graduations that you post, and these aren't like little, I mean, like these are proud people. Like, so talk about, I'll stop talking and you start talking.
It really, every single question that you've been asking, it just gives me the chills. It makes me realize what we have done in the past few years,
Yes. And in your community. I mean, I think that's the thing. Like, you are impacting your community on so many levels.
And as you said, I think our practices, and for whoever is opening a practice, the business will take you, the business side of the office will take you different routes, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because every business, and now I'm not talking just on orthodontics, I'm just talking as a business owner, right? Because yes, I wanted to have the fun of the office. I wanted to use my hands to use my clinical skills, but learning about being a business owner, no matter what industry, it brings a different level into your life. It brings a different type of worthiness, different type of lifestyle, different type of, your mind is always thinking about your office, everything, every single thing that happens in your office, in your business, it's at the end is you. So going with this, of course, we open our 2 practices or 2 per practice, and everybody's going through this, recruiting new dental assistants or filming assistants, very hard, right?
Yes.
So there was some instances that we will hire a couple dental assistants, we will train them, and 6 months later they will say, "Hey, I have to move out of state," or somebody's offering me a different rate. And we said, you know what? The way we were training them, it was not only the clinical skills, also to become better persons, right?
Yes.
We are in the customer service where it's not about only doing what we do clinically, it's make them feel special. Why? And this is what I tell everybody, I just want them to make them feel special, because the more special they feel, they will make us feel more special. So
Yes.
wherever, with any energy that I use to make somebody happy, it gets back to me. And we have the opportunity to see more than 100 people a day, more than 100 patients a day. Imagine all that energy. So besides training them in clinical skills and, doing every single step of being an orthodontic assistant, we're training them into become better. So you can take this same vibe in any industry and it will be the same. It is the same. It's all about how you treat your other, your customers, clients, whatever, right? So we said, okay, we need to open a program, right? Where we can train them. And if they leave, they leave, right? And we don't have that feeling of, oh my God, we spent 6 months training them and now they're leaving because they got married and that happens, completely happens.
Yes.
Totally normal, right? But we started working on this. Applications, the process of having a school, right? It took us like a year, but we were able to open some research training center where at this point we have graduated more than 130 students.
I love that. So
as you said, every graduation is like, it gives me the chills. I'm very emotional, in those sense, because all our assistants have been rotated with so many colleagues around us, so many orthodontists, so many dentists, and we are spreading in a level what we do in some races because we want to be that type of personality, that type of person, right? And after that, we've been able to send them to our neighbor orthodontists, our neighbor friends. So it creates a different that not only benefits our office, right? Because of course, we here and there we hire dental assistants, but it is benefiting a lot of our colleagues around us. And I think that's even more important to it.
Yes, and that is exactly what I think is just so cool about this is you didn't start a training center just for your office and just to help you kind of self-feed your own office. And it's great if the graduates have an opportunity, but just to think about the impact on the community, the impact on your peers out there, because everybody is looking for assistants and looking for employees that, that have got a skill set. And I just think, the people who are in the, the Austin area or the Texas area, but if they see that an employee has come through your training program, they know that they've been through a good program. And I just want to thank you for seeing a need in our industry and being able to put something together and knowing that it's not only going to benefit you, which you could have just been like, oh, it's all about us and we're going to protect this and, make them have to sign on with us and work for us for blah, 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 blah. Instead it was like, if they work for us, that's great. If not, I'm just helping our industry. And on top of it all, I'm helping. And I think that this is such a key. I'm helping the people that are coming through our doors see a purpose, see it, fill a need, and hopefully see that there's a career in orthodontics and in the dental field.
As 30 something years ago, somebody opened me the opportunity to be involved in the dental field, right? This program is not only generating job opportunities for our dental assistants, right? But also generating an eye opening of, I want to be part of the dental industry, or I want to have a dental career, or I don't like it, right? Which is important too. Sometimes you get into something that you don't like, and like, oh, I realize that I don't like it. Well, it works well away. But at this point, we have so far like probably 4 that are ready to start dental school from those programs. So can you imagine the level of, I would say, gratitude? I would say it's just very rewarding for me.
Yeah,
it's just very rewarding. I get messages where like, you know what, Dr. Cruz, I just got accepted to start dental school next year, or I'm getting into hygiene programs, and that's how it started.
Yeah.
And same thing with something very similar happened to in our family. After me, there's 26 more dentists.
Mm-hmm.
It just has been how we can ignite something in others around us.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful. Well, I think this is a good place to wrap up. This has been just such a treat to have you on the podcast. And I know that there's been so many pearls that the listeners have been able to take away from this. And I'm in the event that somebody they want to follow you or they want to find out more about you. Can you just one more time tell us the handles where they can find you?
Mm-hmm. You have 5 chances to follow me.
I love it.
You can follow me on 5 different levels. My Instagram. We didn't talk about Instagram, but really quick, follow me on Instagram. Is dr.enrique Cruz. And that account blew up incredibly. I have more than 138,000 followers as well on that one, and it's just been sharing what we do in our office and what we do every day. But of course, TikTok is Sonrisas Orthodontics, Dr. Sonrisas, and Orthotrix.
Orthotrix. Okay.
Orthotrix is very. I'm so happy to have that account. Then we have, of course, on Instagram is dr.enrique Cruz or Sonrisas Orthodontics.
Perfect.
And Facebook is Sonrisas Orthodontics. So you have 5 opportunities to follow me. 5
opportunities for any of you out there that have your favorites. You've got an opportunity on all of them.
You pick your bike and then you go from there. No. So social media, talking about, I have been able to, 2 weeks ago, I had the opportunity to go to New York to give my first social media course, in a sense.
Yes.
It came out of TikTok. I met Dr. Luke Sharpo, and we met in Miami one day. We were just walking by, and he's like, "Hey, I know you. And we reached out, and we had something very organic. And I was able to come to New York and give this course that, we were so happy to share. And it has been a blessing that I've been able to reach people that I never imagined. Now is becoming a different community. So I would invite you guys to whoever is listening, orthodontists, dental assistants, dentists, whoever is going to listen to our conversation, just try it.
Yep.
Try it. Feel comfortable. And if you have any questions, please, dr.enrique Cruz, send me questions. Be happy to help. I'll be happy to guide you. I'll be happy to, and that's me. That's how I like to interact with people. And thank you so much for inviting me to be here today.
Yes.
And it's been very, very rewarding, very mind-opening, but at the same time, I think brings me back to what I have been going through with my wife, that at the end, she has been the motor of what I do every day, and I love practicing with her. Is this Sonrisas has come because 2 individuals that had a dream, and it's happening,
and it's come to fruition, and you are just impacting lives after lives after lives. So thank you for that. So as we finish up, I don't know if you know this, but I like to do a little speed round at the end. So. Ooh, are you ready to be put on the spot for a few speed round questions? Okay, are you ready?
Ready.
Okay, so describe your style in one word.
Ooh, dynamic.
Ooh, I like that. All right, what are you listening to or watching right now?
I love listening to Sting.
Sting? Ooh.
All the time. I don't go away. Of course, I can go from Sting to Bad Bunny or but I always listen to Sting.
Oh, that's great. That's great. All right. How about this? What do you do just for you? If you're taking some time just for you, what do you do just for you?
I like cleaning my fish tanks. I have 3 fish tanks, and I just enjoy cleaning it.
Kind of therapeutic.
No, that is truly that's for me, because it makes me in a piece of relaxation.
Yes.
It's just been a hobby for me for the past 35 years, and that's what I love doing.
How cool. How about this? Do you have a hidden talent?
I don't know if it's hidden, but I think I like dancing.
Well, you're good at it.
I
You're good at
really
it.
like dancing. I love dancing. And same thing. I was 16 years old. I hated dancing. And then I figured out that if I was going to go to a party and if I didn't dance, I would be the kid in the corner with like no friends. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess I should dance.
I better learn to dance. And now look at you. You're dancing in front of hundreds of thousands of people at this point.
And I play classical piano. Classical piano. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful!
I don't have a TikTok channel for that, but I play classical piano.
That's a great talent. All right, and then as we finish up, do you have a big, hairy, audacious goal for yourself in the next year, 2 years, whatever it may be? I mean, you've got a lot of them that you've already accomplished. So
every question that you ask, it makes me. It will contradict all that we talk right now.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is, I think my goal will be to be able to get back to my life.
Yeah. Yep.
Because as entrepreneurs, as business owners, as orthodontists, our life has become what we do every day.
Yeah.
And my bigger goal will be able to enjoy my family more.
Sure.
And to be able to spend time with my kids more and spend time with myself more. That would be my biggest goal.
Yeah.
But to achieve that, I want to make sure that the services that I'm providing, that the services that we're giving to our community, to other people, they can still intact without me being there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that is something to work towards for sure. And especially as business owners, to know that the business can keep going without you necessarily having to be in the business on the day-to-day. So, well, good luck on that. I think that's a great goal. And I would say for all of us as business owners, it's so hard to find that balance between work and home and personal life and business life. And I wish you the best with that. Well, again, thank you so much for being on the podcast. This has been just a wonderful, wonderful episode. And you just have given us so much information. So again, thank you. And until next time, we'll see you later. Dr. Cruz was a graduate of the National University of Mexico in Mexico City for dentistry and oral and maxillary facial surgery. He then decided to increase his qualifications by obtaining a dual specialty training at the University of Indiana, where he received certificates in periodontics, orthodontics, and achieved a master's degree in dentistry with 2 minors in oral pathology and life sciences. He is the owner of a multi-specialty dental center called Sonrisas, located in the Austin and Cedar Park, Texas area. And if that's not enough, Dr. Cruz is also a social media celebrity with over 27,000 followers on Instagram and 962,000 followers on TikTok.